So next up, podcast listeners, we have the dumbest bill in America. And do we have a lead up, Mr. Producer? Here it is.
Dum 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 dum.
And it is the dumbest bill in America, and it is redefining the word child. Yes, redefining the word child. Well, here's CBS News reporting concerning the issue of the child tax credit in the United States of America. Well, there is a child tax credit. It's actually not such a bad thing. It's actually a pretty good thing if it is used properly. Well, as you can imagine, the Democrats don't want to use it properly because they want to redefine the word child. First up, telling you a little bit more about the tax credit itself, here's CBS News reporting. We have that clip, and here it is.
Democratic lawmakers are looking to permanently extend pandemic cash benefits going to most American families. Enhanced child tax credit payments begin going out on July 15th. The checks give as much as $300 per month, $3,600 per year to families, depending on their income and the age of the child. It's part of President Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief plan signed into law in March. Extending the enhanced benefits has the backing of a strong majority of Democrats in the House and the Senate.
Yes, so there you have CBS News reporting about the child tax credit, which traditionally has been used by moms and dads who are working. And when you're working and you have children, you get this child tax credit because the $3,600 per year child tax credit assists you in helping to pay for raising your child. In other words, you're being rewarded, if you will, for having children and working. And that is a good thing because it's a tax credit that is connected to work. Well, that's not what the Democrats want. The Democrats want to not just extend the child tax credit, but they also want to make it for anybody and everybody so that whoever's raising your child, whoever's raising your child can get the tax credit, even if they're not working. Isn't that a problem, podcast listeners? I mean, wouldn't that encourage you to do, have lots of children? So if you are somebody who has no morals, you might go out and have 10, 15 children and then not work, and then suddenly you're going to get a check for $300 per month per kid. That's what the Democrats want. It's unbelievable. So in Politico, it says, whose kid is that? Dems want big changes, and who qualifies for child tax break? Anyone caring for a child who would be able to claim credit payments, not just relatives. Supporters say that would make hundreds of thousands more eligible by implementing the change, and that could be very difficult to implement. House Democrats don't just want to expand their signature child tax credit payment program. They also want to redefine what it means to be someone's child. Of course, they want to redefine whether or not you're a man or a woman. As part of their sweeping reconciliation plan, they are proposing to overhaul, for the first time in almost a generation, the legal definition of a child that's used to claim the hugely popular break. But that's not as simple as it sounds, and implementing it could become a bureaucratic nightmare. Lawmakers want to make the definition more expansive so that more people can claim the benefit worth $3,600 per child per year. They're proposing to dump longstanding rules requiring a child to be a relative of the person taking the credit. Oh, so now all that has to happen is you can have millions of people having children out of wedlock. And then they get rewarded for having children out of wedlock. And then they get rewarded again for not working. Oh my gosh, that's great, Democrats. What a great idea. So in the Wall Street Journal, Democrats debate duration, details of child tax credit extension. At issue is how long the credit should extend and whether families should get the full benefit even if they aren't working. You're going to love this. Key details of the expanded child tax credit are up for grabs during congressional negotiations as Democrats debate how long an extension they should pass and whether millions of very low income families should get the full benefit. The popular policy is in no danger of failing completely out of the party's broader social spending legislation, even as congressional leaders shrink their aims to fit moderate lawmakers' demands for a bill smaller than $3.5 trillion, measures many Democrats have been seeking. But the credit is likely to change. from the expansive versions advocated by House members and the Biden administration, with potential efforts on poor families and wealthier ones. In particular, podcast listeners, Senator Joe Manchin's insistence on a work requirement for the credit is complicating the discussions. So Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, is saying, look, there are lots of issues maybe with the child tax credit, and we can have those discussions. We can talk about how much, how long it should last, and so forth. But he's like, shouldn't we have a conversation about there should be a work requirement? Because why would you get paid for not working and then having as many kids as you want, and then you get paid for each kid that you have, but you're not working? Makes no sense. Senate Democrat aides said that Manchin is indeed working on this issue. In the evenly divided Senate, Democrats need Mr. Manchin's vote to extend the credit and advance the rest of their fiscal policy agenda, including Medicare expansion, tax increases, and a national paid leave program. He has shown his willingness to use that leverage before. So, what's wrong with this picture, podcast listeners? The Democrats want to extend the tax credit for children, and they want it to be permanent. And they don't want you to have to work, and they want to redefine the word child so that way anybody can claim it and just say, oh, well, that's my child. I'll just claim that, that kid. And then at the same time, in this same bill, the Democrats want to provide other cradle-to-grave services that are social services, such as they want to provide free child care. Think about this. Free child care. In other words, you're going to go to work, or maybe not even go to work, and someone else watches your child, like a daycare situation. The Democrats want to pay for that for you. So they want to pay you for not working. They want to pay for someone else to raise your child. And then they think that that's going to be okay and nothing's going to go wrong. The West Virginia Democrat has raised concerns that no strings attached benefits fuels opioid use. Yeah, especially in West Virginia. According to people familiar with his views, actually it's everywhere, some of other Democrats and outside advocates have argued that the payments help prevent opioid use in hopes of changing his mind on work requirements. West Virginia has the highest rate of opioid-related overdoses in the country, according to government data. Don't you think if we're going to help the children, that the people should make some effort, he said on CNN earlier this month? Until this year, the credit phased in with income, so the full amount didn't go to millions of very low-income households. And so the article continues, and as you can imagine, the Democrats are not just happy with extending and massively expanding free stuff for people. They don't want there to be any skin in the game. There's no skin in the game when they redefine the word child, because they're saying anyone can get the credit, which means you get a check for $300 a month. And it doesn't matter whether you're a good father. It doesn't matter whether or not you are paying child support. That's not even part of this. And it should be. It's like, I'm sorry, we're not going to give you, Mr. Smith, $300 a month because you aren't taking care of your child. You're not even involved in your child's life, and you're not paying child support. So why would we give you money? But the Democrats want to reward you for doing all the wrong things. And that is why they want to redefine the word child. And that's the dumbest bill in America.